Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is a return to my series of Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Today I'm going to be focusing on Ancestries, Hindrances, and Traits. So I'm going to break down my continued coverage of this system, going through the player character creation section, and then I will kind of fast track the remainder of the book. So I will skip over some sections like equipment and whatnot, but I will then refocus in on the Game Master section of the core rule book as well. So without further ado, I am going to jump into just going over Ancestries, Hindrances, and Traits. There may be times that I have to pause it because my asthma is acting up again, and prolonged talking sometimes gets in the way. So without further ado, here we go. Now, I had already gone over very, very briefly the Ancestries. So once again, just as a rehash, I'm going to go and just mention each one. So you have androids, Aquarians, avians, dwarves, elves, half-elves, half-folk, humans, Rakashans, Saurians, and then we get to making ancestries. Now, the reason why there's a good section here on making ancestries is that this is a generic role-playing game system. And so you're really meant to, or it is meant to be ported into a variety of different settings. And so you might bring them to a setting. It isn't one of those core ancestries already. And so you have the tools here in order to create an ancestry. So game masters and players who want to make their own ancestry or cultural archetype, or archetype I should say, can use the system below. Our ancestries are designed with the following rules. Ancestries and cultures begin with 2 points of positive ancestry abilities. Additional positive abilities can be countered with an equal value of negative ones. A +2 ability, for example, may be countered by a single -2 ability or 2 -1 abilities. If you want to include an ability we haven't included here, simply assign it a value based on the examples below. Don't be afraid to rename abilities to give your setting more flavor. If you want your horse nomads to have riding skill, at a D6 for example, you might call it Born in the Saddle. It's all about creating a rich flavor rather than list of abilities your players have to keep up with. So positive ancestral abilities, and again, these are just suggestions. You can add to these, you can adapt them and whatnot. The number in parentheses after the name of each entry is the number of times a particular enhancement may be taken. You means unlimited. Sorry. So, adaptable is a value of 2. Additional action is a value of 5. Aquatic, semi-aquatic is a half a point value. Armor is a 1. Attribute increases is 2. A bite is 1. So the species has fangs and can cause a strength plus D4 damage. Burrowing is a 1. And you can see it only needs to be taken once. Here's edge. Edges are unlimited, right? 2+ and then X. All members of this species have the same innate edge chosen from those ability available in the setting. Unlike adaptable, this ability ignores requirements except other edges. Each rank beyond novice costs an additional point to the maximum of heroic rank or 5. Environmental resistance. The species receives a +4 bonus to resisting a single negative environmental effect. You can see that one is also unlimited. That's why I read it. And going through, so you can see there's quite a few here. Now here are negative ancestral abilities. So these, you can take additional negative ancestral abilities, which will give you the ability to take these negatives now and then buy and offset some of the positives you've already done. All right. So you're kind of looking to have a balance of positive and negative. So that's that will work out, and you can really craft a very unique ancestral background using this system here. Let's see if there's an unlimited. So here, environmental weakness is an unlimited. The species suffers -4 to resist a particular environmental effect, such as like heat or cold or whatnot. Skill penalty, either -1 or -2, once per skill. Celestials and Guardians. So they go into creating Celestials or Guardians, and that is covered here. So they're giving you just an example of creating these two ancestries. Hindrances. Hindrances are character flaws and physical handicaps that occasionally make life a little tougher for your hero. Some hindrances have actual game effects, others more subjective role-playing. Hindrances help you understand and role-play your character. They should occasionally cause her to act in ways that aren't necessarily smart, efficient, or in the best interest of the party or the overall goal. That's what role-playing games are all about. And the game master should reward you with bennies when your hindrances cause significant trouble. All right, so all thumbs is a minor. Basically, you're kind of clumsy. Anemic. Your characters are particularly susceptible to sicknesses and diseases. Here's a major one, arrogant. Your hero doesn't think he's the best. He knows he's the best. Whether it's swordsmanship, kung fu, or painting, few compare to his skills and his flaunts if ever a chance gets. Winning isn't enough for the champion. He wants to dominate his opponents and prove that no one else is better, and so on. So this is a major hindrance because it really is going to affect interactions with this character. You have bad eyes, which is either minor or major. I guess with like a, if you have a -2 against everything requiring visual, then that's going to be a major hindrance. A -1 is just a minor. And so on. So there's a lot of hindrances here. As you can see, clueless. Clueless is a major. Your hero doesn't pay much attention to the world around him and can't seem to find a haystack in a small pile of needles. And we have quite a few. As you can see, several pages worth of them, and each one does describe what it actually does. Is it major or minor, or can it be specifically both, such as like ruthless or pacifist can be minor or major depending on the severity of the hindrance your character experiences. So traits. Traits. Characters are defined by their traits, attributes, and skill ranked by die types. A, D6 is average, while higher die types reflect much greater ability. Attributes are primarily passive or innate abilities used for resisting effects like fear or supernatural attacks. Skills are used to actively do things or affect others. Exceptions occur, but there are the fundamental differences between the two concepts. Attributes, so you have agility, smart, spirit, strength, and vigor. Using attributes. Attributes are used to determine how fast skills increase during advancement, limit access to edges, derive secondary statistics such as toughness or melee damage, resist effects such as being grappled or counter spells, powers, or social attacks such as taunt or intimidation. Skills. Heroes have 12 points to buy skills during character creation. A skill that's below a linked attribute, noted in parentheses beside the skill name, is cheaper to increase than one that's at or above. See page 55 for character creation and page 54 for advancement. And I will certainly spend specific time to those two key parts. Core skills are marked with a red star and start at D4 for player characters. See page 10. Characters can attempt skills they don't have, but it's more difficult. See unskilled attempts on page 89. Academics or smarts. So that shows you the skill and then the attribute that is attached to it. Athletics. The red star, written in red, indicates that it is a skill that everyone starts with, but they're going to start with a D4 for that particular skill, and then you can enhance it later. Battle is smarts. Boating is agility. Skill changes in this edition of Savage Worlds. So the core skills, major changes are charisma was removed from the game. Climbing has been folded into athletics. Common knowledge is now its own skill rather than smarts role. Investigation is now research to make its meaning and usage more clear. Focus is a new skill of the gifted arcane background. Knowledge has been broken down into separate skills used in most campaigns, specifically academics, battle, electronics, hacking, language, occult, and science. Lockpicking is now part of thievery, which also handles pickpocketing, sleight of hand, safe cracking, and other roguish tricks. Performance is a new skill. Repair and its use are better defined. Streetwise is now an edge. Swimming is handled by athletics. Throwing is covered by athletics. Tracking is now part of survival. Common knowledge is now is red, so it is smart. Works under smarts, and it will start with a D4 for free, basically default skill. Language proficiency, since there's a sidebar, I'm going to take a look at it. If you have a D4 in language proficiency, the character can read, write, and speak common words and phrases. A D6, the speaker can carry on prolonged but occasionally halting conversations. A D8, the character can speak fluently. A D10, the hero can mimic other dialects within the language. And D12, the speaker can masterfully recite important literary or oral works. Creating other skills, the game masters can create any skill they want or need to for the setting. If the skill has a defined uses, she should work out exactly how it functions. If navigating the stars is a big part of your planetary romance campaign, and you don't think that electronic skill covers the use of navigational systems, for example, you might want to add astrogation, and so on. So, I mean, basically find ways to create new things. Notice falls under smarts. Everyone starts with it with a D4. Persuasion, spirit, once again, starting ability. Reaction tables. The GM can use the table below to roll or choose a character or group's initial attitude. I don't like rolling those things. I like to just implement them, just on the fly. Look at what's been going on and what is the most likely reaction this group will have when they encounter the player character group. Stealth is an agility starting skill. Familiarization. If it is dramatically appropriate to show that the character is as out of his element with a particular use of a skill, such as picking up an alien weapon and trying to make a shooting attack with it, the GM should simply apply a penalty, -2 or -4, to the total. When to do this and how large a penalty is depends entirely on the situation. A gunslinger might suffer a penalty when using a bow, for example, at least until he's had a day or two of practice. A professor might suffer a -4 to a science roll if the player specifically says he's a world famous chemist when the check the GM has called for concerns Paleozoic geology, though that's a great time to award a Benny if the player role plays this lack of knowledge out. Okay. So basically you're going to use how familiar is the character potentially familiar with the skill or the item that they're looking to use, and then applying some kind of a negative modifier to their chances of being successful. And I am going to save edges because it is a pretty significant amount of material on edges, and there's different types of edges and everything. I am going to do a separate video specifically for talking about edges. So there you have Ancestries, Hindrances, and Traits, including creating Ancestries, Hindrance, and even Traits. And as I said, I will save edges for the next video, and I will spend all of that time just on edges and then the different types of edges that are in the game. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and like the video, share the video. Absolutely leave your comments in there. Really love to hear about your experiences running this game system or playing in this game system. It'd be awesome to hear any stories about ancestries that you've created, or other game, other worlds and settings that you have actually incorporated into your running of Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Same thing goes with like Hindrances and Traits as well. If you've created any of your own, please feel free to share those in the comments section, and I'd love to actually start a dialogue between myself and others who are actually playing and running this game system to share a lot of ideas with each other, and just continue that conversation as I am going through the rest of this rule book here. So thank you for joining, and you have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen or at a gaming table sometime soon. So you all have a great one, and take care.